Hello, everybody. Welcome to my prediction video for the Under-20 World Cup semifinals. We are now entering the Final Four. That means only 1/6 of the teams that entered this tournament remain. Two South American sides, two European sides, all facing each other in the semis, which means we're guaranteed another Europe-South America final. I think that this would be the third time in a row at the Under-20 World Cup we've had a Europe South America final. In 2013, we had France against Uruguay. 2015, we had Serbia against Brazil. And this year, we are guaranteed to have either Venezuela or Uruguay against England or Italy. As I said before, before the quarterfinals started, I said this tournament was wide open. I still believe it is. I think any of the four remaining sides have a decent shot of taking home the trophy. Regardless, we are guaranteed of a new champion since none of these four teams have ever won the Under-20 World Cup before, at least not to my knowledge. So, jumping right in, you already know who I'm going to pick for the Uruguay-Venezuela game. I have to. I have to go with my pre-tournament pick that I made over a month ago, Uruguay. I have to say, though, I'm pretty happy with the fact that Uruguay is a Final Four team. I consider that a pretty big success on my end, considering that youth tournaments are so hard to predict because the gap in quality is just so narrow. So I'm pretty happy that my team to win this tournament, has made it to the semifinals. I'm going to have to stick with Uruguay, although I would not be surprised if Venezuela did it. I watched the Venezuela-US game. That was the first game that I watched in its entirety. They absolutely dominated us. Venezuela completely dominated us. We were very fortunate not to lose that game 4-5, 6-0. The crossbar was our best friend. It saved us several times. Klinsmann, the goalkeeper, put in a great performance. He kept us really alive in the game. We only had a few chances. We only created a couple of chances to score. And really the best stretch of the game for us was the final 5 or 6 minutes of the game where we were on the front foot, we were attacking, and we could have stolen it. We could have stolen with a free kick right at the end of the 94th minute. But one of our young players, I don't know his name, he got his head onto it, but he couldn't direct it on target. If he directed on target, I think he would have had the goalkeeper beaten, and we would have won it really undeservedly. We would have stole that game. But I would have taken it because it would have meant the U.S. would have been in the semifinals for the first time ever in the Under-20 World Cup, at least to my knowledge. But it went to extra time. Venezuela got 2 goals on us. We got a consolation, so we did break Venezuela's clean sheet record in this tournament. And we did lose 2-1, as was my prediction, but it was an extra time, and which was more than we deserved, to be honest. I can imagine for a lot of the Venezuelan players, the coach, the staff, and the managers, it was very frustrating that they needed extra time to put us away. But I'm glad we at least went down fighting, and I think this Under-20 World Cup for the U.S. was a success, getting to the quarterfinals for the second time in a row, the other being in 2015 in New Zealand. You know, this is a clash between South American giants. Venezuela and Uruguay were the two best sides at the South American Youth Championship. A lot of people thought Venezuela was going to be a dark horse entering this tournament. I underestimated them a little bit. Uruguay were one of the favorites, being South American champions. But, this one is very difficult to give a scoreline for because Venezuela has had Uruguay's number for the last few times they have met. Specifically, like I said, in the South American Youth Championship, they defeated Uruguay 3-0. So I think Venezuela here could absolutely get to the final. I think they could win this tournament. I really do think Venezuela could win this tournament. And it would be another opponent the United States faced in the quarterfinals who went on to lift the trophy, of the other being Serbia in 2015, when we lost in the quarterfinals on penalties to them. So, I don't know. This is very difficult to predict. For Uruguay, I've been a little bit disappointed in them because Amaral and Bentancur have not really showed up in this tournament as much as people thought they would. They haven't been scoring as many goals as they would have liked. They've been having very narrow victories over all of their opponents so far, going back to the group stages. And they scraped by Portugal on penalties. I thought that game was going to be close. I predicted Uruguay would win it in extra time. They won it 2-2 on penalties. But to be honest, that Portuguese team was really the Portuguese side that showed up, that threatened to make a deep run into this tournament because they were one of the favorites entering this tournament. I thought they were going to get to the final. And penalties is a lottery. So there were stretches of that quarterfinal game where they were better than Uruguay, stretches where Uruguay were better. Maybe this makes Uruguay better prepared for the semis. Maybe it makes them a stronger team after having survived such a brutal game against the Portuguese. Go watch the highlights of that. That was a really entertaining game. But I have no idea. With the youth championships, most of my predictions are based on educated guesses, recent results. I don't know too much about individual players. Uruguay, Venezuela, I think that has all the makings to be a fantastic encounter. But like I said, I'm going to have to stick with Uruguay. But I would not be surprised if Venezuela goes on to win this trophy. Scoreline for that. I think that match will be 2-1 Uruguay. I don't know. I just don't see Uruguay holding back Venezuela from scoring. If you look at Venezuela this tournament, they've scored 13 goals this tournament so far. 13 goals. So I think Uruguay's defense is one of the best in the tournament. So I do think it is going to hold Venezuela back. I don't see Venezuela winning this game comfortably. And overall, you look at tournament experience, you look at tournament pedigree. Uruguay's been at this stage before. They know what they have to do. Uruguay is, I've always felt this way, Uruguay is always at the youth level, at the senior level, at any level. They are always one of the best tournament teams. There's a difference between a great team and a great tournament team. For some reason, Uruguay knows how to survive in tournaments. They call it La Gara Charrua. So I'm going to give Uruguay here based on experience. I think they're going to win this 2-1 in extra time. And for the other semifinal is Italy against England. Guys, people keep underestimating Italy. They defeated Zambia. They knocked out France. Two of those teams, both of whom were amongst the 3 or 4 favorites. So Italy has proven themselves to be world beaters in this tournament. I think they had to beat Zambia in extra time, and I warned you. I said Zambia's defense was very chippy. It was very... there's a lot of holes in it. They always allow themselves to be more susceptible to counterattacks. High-scoring side, but they concede a lot of goals, and that's exactly what was their undoing in this quarterfinal match. They lost 3-2. So I picked Zambia to win, but that was mostly because I wanted to see an African side go through. Part of me thought Italy might do it, or would do it, but that was my own bias taking over. Here, I don't know who's going to win this one. This is hard to call because England are not a very high-scoring side, and they needed a little bit of luck to beat Mexico in the quarterfinals. Mexico was unfortunate not to find an equalizer after going down 1-0. They're going to be missing a player. I think they're missing one of their main defenders in the semifinals based off a red card during the Mexico game. But also Italy had to come from behind as well against Zambia because they got a red card, had one of their defenders sent off as well. So maybe those will cancel each other out. Like I said, this is the 3rd time I'm saying it. I'll say it again. That Italian goalkeeper, I don't know his name. I'm going to have to look up his name, but he has been the star as far as goalkeepers are concerned in this tournament. He made some great saves against Zambia. He's been absolutely prolific in every game that he's played in. And he might just be the best goalkeeper in the tournament. Who wins the Italy-England semifinal game? Because of the fact England is low scoring, with the exception of the 3-0 defeat of Argentina in the group stage. But let's be honest, Argentina this tournament was absolute crap, and they deserve to go home. I think I like Italy. That's tough. I don't know. I think I'm going with Italy. I think Italy will beat England. And I think it's going to be 1-0. I think it's going to be a very boring game, but I don't think England scores. England has struggled to put goals in the back of the net throughout the knockout stages of this tournament. I think against a better defensive side like Italy, who narrowly lost to Uruguay, one of the tournament favorites in the group stages, I think they're going to be able to deny England here. I just think that I think Italy will come through it. It's going to be very boring. It's going to be very dry. It's going to be very physical. They'll do it 1-0, I think. 1-0. So I have Uruguay and Italy in the final. It could very easily be England, Venezuela in the final. Venezuela, England. But I'm going with Uruguay and Italy to meet again in the final. Two teams that shared the same group in Group D of this tournament. So I think they're going to meet each other again, and who knows what could happen. Maybe Italy will get revenge against Uruguay, and Uruguay will lose their second under-20 World Cup final in 3 cycles. I don't know. But, yeah, those are my 2 picks. I think Uruguay will get through because I just think their overall tournament pedigree and experience will be enough to get through Venezuela. And I'm picking Italy because of the fact that England has been struggling going forward so far in the knockout round. So, yeah,